Welcome back to Freedom Algo. So today we had a mostly bearish day that kind of turned into a range. It's overall got a bearish bias. You can see it's working its way lower, and the highs that come up are not making new highs. They're kind of making lower highs as it goes. There's not really the best trend channel in here. I tried to see if there was some way to, get a decent one, something that kind of fits across. That's like okay, I guess. So somewhere from like maybe right over here through here. There kind of is a trend channel that's something like that, I guess. So there is some sort of bias where you can kind of look at this as maybe like a spike in channel. But early on, we had an up channel here, the pre-market, and let's zoom way in. You can see the volatility came in later, a little bit later today. But what we had here was actually a first entry, second entry long that failed right off the EMA. You're expecting us to probably come down here. It's a close outside of this channel. You're expecting a new low. So that's a pretty reasonable one. I marked it green because it's a failure and those are more advanced. We didn't fill the gap here. We missed it by one tick. So you're still thinking we probably will. So when we came up here, we actually get a first entry, second entry long above this bar. And that's a decent signal bar. So that one you could take. It is going into the EMA and whatnot, but you're thinking we had a break of this and we're probably going to make a new high. The downtrend over there had already played out. And when it goes up and right here, I think this makes an equal high, 41. It actually makes one tick lower than the high and reverses. At that point, you have to start thinking bearish. And there's actually a first entry, second entry short, but it's an inside bar where it triggers. So I don't like it. If this bar had like made an equal high or something, then I would have said that there's probably a second entry short opportunity there, but just didn't work out that way. So then it spikes down. There's some volatility that came in with the news. After it starts to break out, you actually get this second entry short, a really nice signal bar here, and right off the EMA, it's only 10 ticks when there's a pretty high volatility. And so a lot of these trades at some point here, I was started to go for 8 ticks on my scalps because of just how big the volatility was. And so that was a really nice one. And what that is a close outside of this channel. You're looking for a new low, and it also is a new high on the short-term channel. So that has played out, and you're thinking new low. It does that, and then it breaks down. You kind of get this other correction here, and what you actually get here is a first entry, second entry short, but this signal bar is not good. But after that short, there's a lower high here. So you can take the lower high looking for another new low. It was just really bearish, so that was worth it. Then we come up here, and this is just a higher low after we kind of get like basically the downtrend had played out, and this is just a higher low. So if you want to try to take that one, it's reasonable. It's a little risky. It's moved kind of far, but at that point, you're thinking, hey, we did fill the gap, and actually, I don't think no the gap. We were looking for a different gap to fill. I don't think that was actually the move that filled it. Yeah, that wasn't the move that filled it. The move that filled it was over here. So we did fill that later, but you're just thinking, hey, we have this up channel. There's a lower high or a higher low, so pretty reasonable trade setup. Finally, we come up. We get this move here where it's a lower high, and then we get another lower high. So basically, it's like a first entry, second entry long that fails with a huge bearish bar. It's 22 ticks, so I had to mark it green. Just very, very large volatility came in. You could also see this as a double top, so then it becomes like a first entry, second entry long that fails again. So you can kind of see it that way too. So if you saw it that way, both of those are reasonable trades. Again, they're failures, so they're a little risky. Down here, you have a first entry, second entry short. I only marked this one green because it's a little stacked there. It's a little tight, and not the best signal bar I've ever seen. You're not back to the EMA, so if you took it, it works. Just but it only gets you a scalp, and you can see it was kind of getting a little congested there. Breaks down again, and then from here you get you can kind of see this as a double bottom, even if it is one tick above. And then you get a first entry, second entry short right off the EMA, right off the channel line. So that's a nice one. The lower high here, which usually I would say is a nice trade to take. However, you've already kind of now looking like you're starting to form a triple test there. So it's getting risky. You're going short into the lows, but it was bearish and the channel was still intact. So if you took it, it does work. Then from here, there's a higher low and then another higher low, which is actually a failed second entry short. So if you took that as a trap, that one does work. But again, you don't know for sure if this is going to get a new low on this down channel, and so that one is a tough one. All right, then it turns into this uptrend. It comes all the way up, and eventually it breaks out. And what I saw this as is I basically saw this as a double top. And even though there's a first entry, second entry long right here, I saw this as all a visual one leg, two leg. So I saw this as a visual second entry long. The idea there is that this little swing is not really that convincing. It all looks like one leg and then a move up and then another leg and a move up, and that's the two-legged move. And then you get a higher low after that. So with still within that move, looking for a new high, which you don't get, but you get both of those as scalps. Breaks down, and you get a first entry, second entry short, but it when this bar opened, it goes up and then closes. So this bar gives you the second entry short on the bar itself. So you'd have to wait for that to close and then enter, and it still worked. Then up here, you get another first entry, second entry short with a lower high coming back into the after a failed breakout. So this is the second entry short, which you could probably argue for that to be green. A little risky, I think, but the better move is the lower high breaking back in on the failed breakout, because this actually, sorry, I can't even mark that because that's still within the trend channel. So now you can't actually mark that because that's too risky within the trend channel. But this one is good because you get the lower high. All right, so then it breaks down. I was trying to remember why I didn't mark that. That's because of the channel. All right, so then from here you have this up channel. There's not really anything in there, just kind of these tight moves that aren't really correcting properly for a good setup. Same thing down here, it just kind of breaks down, and I just don't really see any way to enter that until over here. And what this is actually a first entry short that then pulls back, and it gives you a second entry short all in one candle, but it doesn't really fill below this. You So what ends up happening is you get this other candle that breaks up, tries to go higher, and then gives you this really bearish reversal. And so if you go short below that, I think that that's a reasonable trade to take, as basically it's kind of like a second entry short, but it's also just really bearish and you're expecting a new low there. It ends up not working out, just gives you a scalp. It's a little risky because it's a little congested. From here, you get a first entry, second entry short, and then you get this one, which is actually just a lower high, really bearish bar. And that one is really nice because it's off this possible resistance. So really good setup there. And then that breaks down, and then you get a close outside and a new low there, and then it reverses, and then this is just a basically like a triple test of this level. So it's risky. You want a lower high there, but you don't get one. And then this eventually comes out. You get a close outside over here and a new low. So you can see this as a failed breakout of the lows of the day. A higher low would be better, but you don't get one. And then it just kind of gets bullish here, and you don't really get any setups here until over here, which is a first entry, second entry long that fails. So you could take that as a short. And now it looks like we are closing outside of this channel. And it does actually look like there is a first entry short, kind of a second entry short, but that's two sideways. So there's not really a setup here yet. But it wouldn't surprise me if we come up and reverse and get a short there. So I'm going to wrap it up here. That's it for the day, and I'll see you tomorrow.